Well, our reporter Claire Pacquelin is with me in the studio now. She's also been covering the developments of the last few days very closely. And Claire, look, good to talk to you about this as well. On Sunday night, when the results of the European elections were coming in, you were with the president's party, Renaissance, when the president himself made that extraordinary announcement that he was calling a snap election. As I say, you've been covering the party closely since then. This afternoon, what's the latest with the party itself?
Well, they're trying to put on a brave face, saying that they are defiant. This announcement of these snap elections was definitely a shock to them. I was in the room and people were clearly very, very shocked. But now they're saying, you know, work, work, work was what someone I spoke to on the phone, a member of the party I spoke to on the phone a little earlier on. Work, work, work. We've got to move forwards, onwards and upwards. Now saying that the president's decision to call these snap elections was a good one because it's a chance, an election campaign is a chance to listen to the legitimate concerns of French people, and serious circumstance, so the far right doing so well in the European elections calls for a serious response, and a serious response are these snap elections. So there'll be a meeting this evening at 6 o'clock at the headquarters of Renaissance, so Emmanuel Macron's party. And Emmanuel Macron will speak tomorrow as well. So we'll get a bit more understanding of what their strategy and what their game plan is in the next few hours.
One thing we do know, though, is that if the polls are right, there may well be members of Macron's party who lose seats, who lose their jobs in 3 and 4 weeks' time. The president, it looks like, has taken an enormous risk here, hasn't he?
It is an enormous risk. He is a risk taker.
Yeah.
That's in his nature. You know, look back a bit at his background. He launched a party in April 2016, his own political party. A year later, he was president. A few weeks after that, he won a massive majority in the national parliament, in the lower house of parliament, the Assemblée Nationale. He lost that majority, though, 2 years ago. So by calling these snap elections, it's not as if he's throwing away a majority in parliament. He doesn't have one. So certainly some of his members of parliament may lose their seats. They've got 3 weeks now to campaign to try and keep them. And it was very much a big shock to them. But he's not throwing a majority away. And he says that he can't go on business as usual. This is just not something he can do, given the seriousness, he says, of the situation. He couldn't just stand by and let things carry on as they are.
Well, shed a little light for us, Claire, if you can, on what's going on behind the scenes in the party, because Macron's Prime Minister, Gabriel Attalthe, was meeting with members of the party this morning. Do we know what his message was to them? Do we know the kind of concerns that they've been airing?
I think the Prime Minister, Gabriel Attalthe, I think, first of all, he was making it clear that he understood that they were concerned and that they had been, taken by surprise. They're back on the campaign trail unexpectedly. He said to them, I know this is brutal for you and your staff, but what we need to do now is, according to Attalthe, expose the incoherency of the far right's policies. He says that he told the members of Parliament this morning, members of his party, of the Renaissance members of Parliament, he said, look, according to him, the far right coming to power would be a financial and social KO, or KO in French, which stands for knockout. So basically what he means by that is that far right coming to power, Jordan Bardella potentially becoming the next prime minister, would destroy the finances and the social makeup of this country. And that's the kind of thing we need to make clear. That's the message we need to tell French people now, that if Bardella were to come to power and become prime minister, he'd make a mess of it. Of course, though, you have Bardella, you have Marine Le Pen saying, oh, no, we're ready. We've been ready for a while. They even have a group, a special team, who are the sort of Matignon, that's the Prime Minister's office. They're the team whose strategy, whose goal is to try and pave the way for the far right to come to power. So they say, no, we are more than ready.